This is Sandcast Beach Volleyball with Triborn and Travis Mawerder. Just Travis here recording this intro from the Moscow airport where I've been stuck for a day. On day 2 here, got like 3 hours before I leave. So this episode is with Timmy Brewster, and we recorded it from our Airbnb in Tel Aviv, where we played a 1-star and finished 5th. Super fun tournament, awesome playing with Tim. Just wanted to give you a couple heads ups. One is that we recorded it with a tiny little portable microphone. It's actually awesome, that plugged into the lightning port of my phone. So not sure how the audio quality is actually going to be. I didn't have room to pack all the audio equipment because I've been gone for 2.5 weeks, including these last 2 days in Moscow. So hopefully it works out and we can use this little mobile mic on the road more often. The second thing I wanted to announce is we are doing a Firefly giveaway. Because I've been gone for 2.5 weeks and I've had some insane stories, including a guy dying on my flight to China and being stuck in Moscow here for a day and a half, I want to know what your craziest or most favorite travel story is. Let us know in the comments on the Instagram post that goes up with this episode. It is sandcast_podcast on Instagram. Want to know your best story? Hope you enjoyed the episode with Timmy Brewster. It was super fun getting to play with him. It was actually really fun getting to see the mindset of kind of an up-and-coming guy on the men's side, which we don't have too many of. So enjoy the episode. Thanks as always for listening, and I will be home soon. All right, everyone. This is Sandcast Israeli edition. As I'm sitting in a Airbnb in Tel Aviv with my boy and partner Timmy Brewster. Woo. How we doing, Tim?
Pretty good.
Not a bad week. Not about 2 weeks for you.
Really good 2 weeks. Super fun, especially the last week.
Yeah.
The Airbnb couldn't have been more fun.
Yeah, it's always a good crew when you travel internationally.
Super cool group.
You've had 2 very different crews. So
Yeah.
you went to the Dominican Republic last week for a Norseca with John Ferrari.
Yeah.
Right, and how'd that go?
That went really well. It was a super cool tournament. It was in the middle of the jungle, something I hadn't really experienced before. And we had another really cool USA crew. It was Fallon, Corinne, Jeremy, Kame, Ferrari, and I. And we were all in this little compound in the middle of the jungle, just hanging out, playing some volleyball.
If nothing describes Norseca, a little compound in the middle of the jungle playing volleyball does it. Yeah,
for sure. They picked some random spots, but they seemed to pull it off in the end.
Yeah. And so you finished 4th?
Yes.
In the Norseca, and which is your best finish on the Norseca, right?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which, congrats.
Thank you. Definitely.
4th is solid.
Definitely happy about it. You know, there's always more to be desired.
Yeah.
Definitely think we could have snagged a medal, but we played a really good Nicaragua team in the bronze match, and super close game, but they pulled it out in the end.
Yeah.
So props to them for that.
Yeah. And when we kind of talked about it, throughout our trip, so you came in wanting to get a medal.
Yes.
You still left with a career high in the Dominican. So what is the resting of that feeling? Are you satisfied because you set a new career high, and then are you kind of bummed because you didn't medal?
It's a little bit of both.
Yeah.
I'm super excited with the progress because the last Norseca I played in, I had a disappointing finish with a 9th. And so the step up to 4th is pretty big for me. But it's always hard when you get to see everybody else on the podium and you just finished outside the medals. 4th is just kind of the worst because you were so close and you could have medaled, but you just fell short. And so everybody else is celebrating, and it's this weird thing between, I did super well and I got a career best, but I'm one place short of where I wanted to be.
Right.
Yeah.
And with Norsecas, you played Kame, Jacques, and Jeremy Casebeer in Kame's first tournament for the U.S., which is kind of cool.
Really cool to be a part of.
Would you have played them in the semis had they not had to rework the bracket?
Yes.
Okay, so you would have played them regardless?
Regardless, we would have played them. Okay. They came in as the 13th seed of 13.
Classic.
Probably the world's greatest 13th seed. We were the 9 seed, and so we both ended up winning our pools. And the way it worked, we were Pool A, they were Pool D. And so we would have crossed in the semis.
Okay. Because for our listeners, if you don't know, so the way Norsecas work is two teams from the same country cannot play each other in the finals.
Yeah.
So if they're the best two teams are from the U.S., they rework the brackets so they play each other in the semifinals instead of the finals. Which is why, like, a couple weeks ago, Carrie Walsh-Jennings and Brooke Sweat played Emily Stockman and Kelly Larson in the semifinals instead of the finals. And then they beat, I think, Cuba in the finals. And then Kelly and Emily beat the McNamara's from Canada in the semis. So you never, when two U.S. teams play each other in the semis, you never know if it's, like, actually the way it should be or not.
That way it worked out how it should have.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And then, well, you played them well, though. Like, it was, what, like 19 and 17?
Yeah, first set 21-17, second set 21-19.
And, like, I don't want to say, like, moral victory. Everybody hates the moral victories. But, like, was that one of them? Because, like, John Ferrari is, like, not a blocker. He's, like, 6 foot, 6'1".
He and I are basically the same size, same player. He was playing as offside. He's normally a right-sider as well.
Okay.
So definitely big for us, and it was on the hardest sand I've ever played in. So it felt good to play them well. I mean, they're beasts.
Yeah.
It's another level, and it felt good to be up there with them.
Yeah.
Definitely, there's always things you can do better looking back on it, but definitely happy with the way we played them.
Yeah. Is it cool for you to know that, I mean, you're 19, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and you are competing, like, giving Kame and Jeremy a good run. Kame's an Olympian. Jeremy has the talent to become one. They won an AVP this year, and you're, like, right there. It's pretty cool.
It is. It's weird because, like, these are guys I've looked up to for the last 5-6 years since I was, like, 14 and playing. And it's weird that I am playing against them now. I'm still not there yet, but I can see the progress from where I've come from and where I'm heading, and it's pretty exciting. It's really cool, though, getting to play guys that are that high of a level, and you see what they do so well that you don't.
Yeah.
I think Kame probably OT'd our block every time we served him. Yeah. And same with Jeremy. I mean, they're big guys, and they swing hard, and they're always in system.
Yeah.
So it's pretty hard to do anything.
It's tough when both guys are 4 inches taller than both of you.
Yes. Yeah. And are just as athletic, if not more athletic than us.
Yeah.
So
I think it's cool to see the people that you surround yourself with, though, because you train with Jose Loyola.
Yeah.
So you're around Tri and Trevor a lot, or at least a fair amount, and then you're around Sarah Hughes a little bit too.
Yeah, for sure.
And then you're playing against Jeremy and Kame. Like, you're 19, but you are with the best in the country and by extension the world, on a daily basis. Yeah,
I'm definitely in a really cool situation.
Yeah.
Especially with Jose. I mean, I've been with him for a little over 4 years now.
Okay, I didn't know that. That's a long time.
Really long time. I got lucky after my first year in the high performance beach stuff. I asked one of the coaches to train me, and she said she couldn't, but reach out to Jose. And I did, and at the time he didn't really have a men's team or any guys at all that he was working with, and so he said, yeah, let's do it. And since then it's been 4 years and love every second of it with him.
Yeah, he's great. I love working with that guy.
Yeah, there's nobody like him. He's super into it, super technical, fiery, and just gives it his all. Yeah. Every practice, he's 100% there.
You mentioned the high performance program, and so like I didn't grow up playing beach or volleyball like at all, and so I moved to California when I was like almost 25. So like I have no idea what it is, and I don't think a lot of our listeners do either. So like, what is like the high performance system? Like, what is our youth development system? Because like you, John Schwengel, Miles and Marcus Partain are kind of like sort of like the faces of like the next generation of U.S. volleyball that you have kind of come up in that program together. So like, can you just like give a little rundown of like what it is?
Yeah, so it's changed a lot. I've been in the program for 5 years now, and it's changed almost every year. But essentially, there's age groups. So there's U15. I think they have U13 now, which is crazy. But U13, U15, U17, U19, and then there was U21. Now it's like collegiate. It's changed.
Okay.
But there's a couple tryouts. So you go to like a big tryout, and they have them all over the country. And then based off of how you do there, they invite you to a second tryout. And then at that second tryout, it's like a 2 or 3 day camp. And they pick the top 10 or 12 kids that age to be on the A1 national team, which is the top. And then A2 is the middle, and then A3 is kind of like a developmental group per se. And you train in the summer. So my very first year, we trained for 3 months. So it was a really long time, 4 days a week for 3 months.
Wow.
And then the next year, things changed, and I think we trained for like a month. And then it depends every year kind of how it works.
Is it always in California?
Yeah, it's basically always in South Bay, Santa Monica area.
Okay.
And so then when you're young and there's no international travel involved, you play with your team, and then they pair you up with someone, and the end of the year is high performance championships, and that's kind of the big like national championships for the national team developmental program.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. And then when do you start, what age group do you start traveling?
It used to be U17.
Okay.
And so Marcus Partain and I actually qualified for the U17 World Championships together.
Okay.
To find out that they canceled it. The FIVB canceled it. It was supposed to be in Brazil 2 weeks before the Rio Olympics.
Oh,
and
wow.
So we were really stoked.
Yeah.
And then they canceled it.
Do you know, was it just not enough teams?
Yeah, not enough money.
Okay.
Yeah. And after that, they never held another U17 Worlds again. So that was kind of the end of it. And then there's U19s and U21s run through FIVB, and they alternate every other year. So one year there's U19, the next year there'll be U21, and so on from there.
Okay. Got it.
They've cut it down a lot. FIVB used to have like U23s, U26s, and now it's just U19, U21.
Okay. Do you think that that's due to maybe like, you know, guys like Anders and Christian, you know, are 22 and 21 or 23 and 22 maybe? Like,
for sure.
they'd be competing in U26s for 4 more years.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at U26, that's basically like the top teams in the world, minus some Americans.
Right.
Everyone's basically under that age. There's definitely guys older, but it's still like a 4 or 5 star.
I mean, I was going to say, like, you look at, like, Russia, for example. Like, Krasilnikov is my age. I think he's 29. Stoyanovsky's maybe 22.
Yeah.
23, you know, and you go to, like, Brazil. Well, Brazil's kind of, like, middle of the road in terms of age because their pipeline is so deep.
Yeah.
But I think when you look around the world, like, all these guys are so young. Like the Germans, like Tali and Vickler. I don't know if you watch them a lot, but they were in school when they were in Hamburg last year in the semifinals. Like they were like 21 and 22.
Yeah.
And they're out there
doing it. The rest of
the
world does it super different.
Yeah.
They're super young compared to Americans, which is really interesting.
And that's why, like, I'm super interested in your take on it because like, you're in it.
Yeah.
So what I'm wondering is like why is the U.S. like so lagging in terms of our development? Because like we're still, I think, one of the best beach volleyball countries in the world. I don't think we can lay claim to the best anymore, but we're up there. We're just older. Like it just takes us a while to develop our guys, and I've never known why because I didn't grow up, and it's like I can't really speak to it.
I've tried to figure that out, and I'm not really sure. There's not a lot of kids my age, especially guys that are committed to beach at my age. There's John Schwingle and I were basically the only two who were only playing beach my age without playing indoor. And a lot of these kids overseas specialize early, from what I found, the guys that I've talked to. And something other countries do is they have academies, which is really cool. I mean, it's not, I don't know, culturally feasible in the U.S. Like, we don't really have anything like that, and I think the high performance program does a really good job. Yeah. But it's hard to compete with a country that has their kids living in a facility like Brazil, training year round.
Yeah, I think it's similar to why like we're not, even though we have so many athletes, we're not great at soccer. Yeah. Because other countries do kind of the same thing where they have like clubs where you start in elementary school and you're just in that club, and then when you're in high school, you're basically a professional. Yeah. And I feel like a lot of the beach guys that are at the top played indoor. I mean, not all of them, but some of them played indoor and then went to beach. Right. Or like Nick played soccer in college. Like they do other things and they find their way to the beach. Yeah. Which is a lot different than how other countries do it. Right. Just like the guys we played in the finals or at the quarters here in Tel Aviv, 20 and 21, and they've just been playing like their entire lives. Yeah. Right. So we played Samuel Katafava and is it Jakob or Jacob? Jacob Windish in the quarterfinals of One Star here in Tel Aviv, which is another career high finish for Tim Brewster, and only my second FIVB, so I would say we did pretty well. These Italian kids were really freaking good. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised to see them in 4s and 5 stars in the next year or two. Like we already saw them. They were in Rome, wildcarded in, like held their own against Krasilnikov and Stoyanovsky and against Semenov and Lashukov. And then they win this 1 star.
Yeah.
And you've seen so the Italian kids, you've seen them for a while.
I've seen Jacob.
Okay.
Yeah, the blocker.
And he's the blocker. And then you saw the Czech guys.
Yeah.
Is it fun for you to see kind of everyone growing up and now you guys are all making that jump from the youth, which is obviously wildly talented, to kind of the adult tour?
For sure. I mean, I've made so many friends overseas in the last 2 years who are my age from all the junior world events. We had 3 events last year, 1 event this year, and between those 4, I've made a ton of friends. And when I go to these adult international tournaments, I pretty much see at least 1, if not 3 or 4 or more at a tournament.
I feel like you knew half the field.
Yeah, it's such a cool community because when everyone's the same age at these juniors events, you have stuff in common because you're all teenagers.
Right.
And you all are playing volleyball, going to school, and so you get to know each other and you have fun. And then when you get to these, you're still super close. We keep in touch over social media and all that.
Yeah.
And so it feels like we're still the same people we were a year ago.
Right.
Talking at the youth stuff.
Is the vibe any different from a youth tournament to an adult, say a Tel Aviv 1 star? Because I don't think the talent would be all that much different. I feel like the youth ones might even be a step higher from what we were playing against.
The youth ones are hard because there's levels to it, I guess. So the baseline is a lot lower in a youth event than in a 1 star, but I'd say the highest competition is probably a little tougher.
Yeah.
But the vibe is interesting because everyone's young,
right?
And it's considered a world championship, so it's people from everywhere. Every continent's represented. They make sure that at least 1 country from everywhere is in the main draw, and you're all basically staying at the same hotel. If not, there's 2 hotels. And you're all close, and everyone just hangs out, and you're there the entire time because you come as a nation.
Right.
So you have multiple, you have at least a woman and a men's team, and then you have a coach, and we had 2 coaches, 2 men's teams, 2 women's teams, basically at every event.
What coaches traveled with you guys?
So last year at the youth Olympic qualifier, we had Jeff Alzina and Allie Lamberson.
Okay.
With Megan Bergdorf as our team leader.
Got it.
And then in China, we had the same 2 coaches, and then her assistant Jessica traveled with us as our team leader. Okay. And then at the Youth Olympics was just Coach Allie. Okay. And then this year at U21s, we had Derek Olson as the men's coach, Brooke Niles as the women's coach.
Wow. Yeah. Good staff.
Really good staff.
That's great.
Yeah. It's been awesome learning from all of them. They've all been really good coaches, and each of them has a different thing. Right. I think I've learned from them. Yeah.
Is it so when I was young and learning different sports, every coach kind of has different little things that they teach you. Do you ever get contrasting opinions, or maybe Jose will say do this on a pass and Brooke will say we'll try to do that, and they're completely different sides of the spectrum? Because I haven't worked with many coaches and I've gotten that a lot. Mm-hmm. And you're at an age where it's still super impressionable, you're not nothing's set in stone, when you're 19.
Yeah, there's definitely been some conflicting ones, and I have to go back and really figure out I guess it's what works best for me. Yeah, because coaches have their opinions, but it's not going to work best for each person. Yeah. And so I tend to fall back to Jose because he's been my coach for 4 years, and I believe in almost everything he teaches, if not everything. Right. But definitely got to filter out what you want, what you don't want. There's definitely stuff you can take away from everyone. Yeah. There's stuff you got to put behind you because it's just not going to work for you. Yeah. And with you at UCLA right now, you just skipped the last 2 weeks of school. You were doing homework. I did. You were doing homework. I will say for listeners, not just bailing on school. A little bit.
What is the balance like for you? Because guys beach volleyball is not a sport. Yeah. It's just kind of something you do on your own, like you do, like John does. And I think Miles and Marcus don't really do much when they're in school because they're all indoor based. So how do you find that balance?
It's hard. It was a lot harder in high school than in college, because in college you can create your own schedule and you have a lot less to do during the day because you only take a couple classes during the day.
Yeah.
So it's been a lot easier. I can get down to the beach a lot more to practice, which is awesome. I can take time off to travel without missing as much. As long as I talk to my professors, get it cleared, all's good pretty much. Like, I've had some incidences where stuff has almost gone wrong and it's worked out in the end.
Yeah.
But yeah, the teachers have been really relaxed at UCLA, which is awesome about me missing school. As long as I give them fair warning.
Right. I feel like you're no different than like a volleyball player on the team. You're just an independent team.
Yeah, I guess.
In a way.
I don't really go through the athletic department at all,
Right.
so a lot of it's on my own. I help out with the girls' team as a practice player, so I do get some benefits through that.
Right.
Helping out Stein and Jenny and the girls, but
Yeah.
it's definitely weird because like taking off for 2 weeks was something I could never have really done in high school.
Right.
I would have just missed everything.
Yeah.
And it would have been like the end of the world for me. I would have been drowning in schoolwork.
Yeah. And you're still early at UCLA, so like a lot of your lectures I'm sure are huge and like attendance doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
You can probably get your notes sent to you anyway.
Definitely. A lot of the classes don't take attendance. I'm with 300 plus kids.
Right.
And if they do take attendance, as long as I let them know, they're fine with it. It's not a big part of the grade either. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I feel like the experiences that you're getting are like, I don't want to say more valuable than college, but probably more valuable than college.
Definitely more valuable.
No.
I mean,
we're going to pause here for a quick break to hear from our sponsors. And as always, before we get to our sponsors, just want to give a shout out to all of you who are listening. We've been doing this for a little bit more than 2 years now, so cannot appreciate you guys more. If you, anytime you share it out with your friends, whenever you subscribe, whenever you download, whenever you listen, whenever you talk about it, or just come up to us at tournaments or whatever, reach out via Instagram, Facebook, email, whatever it may be. We cannot appreciate it more. So appreciate all you guys, the listeners, and of course we do appreciate the sponsors. Without either the listeners or the sponsors, there is no show for Tri and I to have. So appreciate all of you guys. And the first sponsor, of course, goes to Wilson, who makes the best ball in the game, has always made the best ball in the game. And now that it's off season, it is definitely time to fill up on your new volleyballs. The new Wilson optics should be on sale to the general public in January. Until then, the old balls will be on discount pretty much everywhere you can find them. So if you're not picky about the type of Wilson ball you're playing, definitely load up on some older ones or wait till January. It'd be a great little belated Christmas present to whoever you need. So grab a new bag of balls at Wilson Volleyball. By far the best ball in the game, and I think you can ask pretty much any player. We've all played with the Moulton, we've played with the Mikasa, we've played with the Spalding. Wilson kicks all their butts, by far, easily. Now for sponsor number 2, the guys who keep Tri and I alive, at least our knees, Firefly Recovery. I wear these on the planes pretty much everywhere I go, so you can have some pretty gnarly travel days. Like I had a 27-hour one to a Norseca and put on some Firefly Recoveries. I actually fell asleep with them on and woke up and my knees were feeling so good because it keeps the blood moving even though you are totally stagnant. So it just sends these little pulses of electricity to keep the blood moving, and you recover way faster. So when you get off the plane, it's not like you're totally stiff. You're way looser, and your travel time, like the amount of recovery you need after travel, reduces dramatically because you have the Firefly Recovery on. So appreciate all those guys for keeping us healthy, for keeping our volleyball bags loaded up with brand new volleyballs. And last but not least, shout out to Pacific Coast Wealth Management. And here's our Pacific Coast Wealth Management Olympic update. Leading the Olympic race on the men's side, no shocker here, is Norway's Anders Mol and Christian Sorum, the phenoms from Norway. Number 2, the only guys who really seem to have their number a little bit is Russians Vyacheslav Krasilnikov and Oleg Stoyanovsky. Number 3, Alisson from Brazil making a comeback. Him and Bruno looked pretty brutal after Rio, but now him and Alvaro Filo are number 3 in the world in the Olympic ranks, followed by Evandro and Alisson's partner Bruno Schmidt. German Wonder Kids, Julius Talley and Clemens Vickler are number 5. For the American side, however, Triborn and Trevor Crabb are still leading the U.S. They are number 11 in the world, number 1 in the U.S. They have 5,960 points, and they are just above Taylor Crabb and Jake Gibb at 5,700. Our third American men's team is Phil Dahlhauser and Nick Lucena. They have 5,360 points. Now, for our Pacific Coast Wealth Management update on the women's end, this is an American-heavy ranking. So after Brazil's Rebecca Cavalcanti and Ana Patricia Silva, who have 8,800 points at number 1 in the world, we have Alex Kleinman and April Ross. Coming in at number 5 in the world rankings, Olympics-wise, are Carrie Walsh-Jennings and Brooke Sweat. Number 7, Kelly Clays and Sarah Sponsel. Number 9, Kelly Larson and Emily Stockman. And still in the race, to be totally honest, are Sarah Hughes and Summer Ross. They still have 8 finishes, so if they get 4 more, they'll get the required 12. It is an uphill battle, but they are still in the race. So that is your update from Pacific Coast Wealth Management. That is your update from the sponsors. Trying, I love all you listeners, love all you sponsors, and now we will get back to your regularly scheduled programming on Sandcast.
I'm going to these places that I've learned about in school before, which is awesome. So
Yeah.
I'm getting like the real world experience of it. I'm just getting to see different cultures and learn different things, especially from the people I travel with, because a lot of the people I travel with are older, like you, and get to learn pretty valuable life lessons. So in my opinion, I wouldn't miss this stuff for the world.
Yeah. And say, like, you can learn about religion, like the history of religion, or you can just go walk through Jerusalem.
Exactly. Yeah, it was crazy.
Today.
I took a religion class last quarter, or I guess it was winter quarter of last year, and it was all about Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, and it's what we saw all day today in Jerusalem.
Walked through it. It was awesome.
Never really experienced anything like that.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
And then we just popped over the Dead Sea and floated around a little bit.
Floated, yeah.
That was crazy.
Took some mud baths.
What's been, I asked you before, like when we were not doing the podcast, but some of the more memorable trips you've taken.
Yeah.
For me, like this one is probably, I think, the best beach volleyball trip I've ever had. Mm-hmm. One, because like the volleyball was pretty successful, but like I always remember the stuff like off the court way more, because like you're off the court way more than you're on it.
Definitely.
I mean, we played 4 matches here?
Yeah.
So we spent probably 4-ish hours on the court, 4-ish hours warming up, and the other several hundred were off the court.
Yeah. I think being able to enjoy the off the court while you're traveling is the biggest thing, because you can be super nervous, and I used to be super nervous when I traveled, and I couldn't stand like anything. Like I was in my room, like making sure I was watching TV, trying to distract my mind before my next game. Yeah. And I've learned, like, if you can just have fun with it and experience it and use it for what it is, it's so much more valuable than just being a total stress case in a room. Yeah. And I think when you actually get out and see the places too, it actually alleviates the stress. For sure. Because I was telling Delaney, you know, when we were walking around like Jerusalem and seeing people like pretty much breaking down like at Jesus' tomb and stuff, I was like, it makes volleyball seem super trivial. Like I'm over here like, God, I can't set from the left. And this person's life was just made because they got to go like to the weeping wall. Yeah. And it's like, volleyball's not that big of a deal. Yeah. Like, it is crazy to put it in perspective when you're on the other side of the world. Yeah. It isn't nuts. Absolutely everything. Yeah. In the end of the day. And especially like, I mean, you've been to China. Oh God. And and like these people are living in conditions that like are hardly livable. Yeah. Like we've got a weather alert every day in Guangzhou that was like, the air is toxic. Don't go outside. That's crazy. And like we had to go play a tournament, but like these people are just like trying to survive on water they can't drink and air they can't breathe, and a government that oppresses them. It's crazy. My problem is volleyball. Yeah. Cuba for me was the one that I saw it the most, which was my very first. This most recent one or before? Before. Okay. Or you weren't in Cuba, you were in Dominican. Yeah. When I was in Cuba, that was a trip. That was my first international beach volleyball trip ever, and it couldn't have been more bizarre. Setting the bar low. Yeah. The poverty was insane. I haven't seen anything like it. Government propaganda everywhere. Pictures of Fidel Castro like plastered everywhere. Good. Yeah. Good. And just weird vibes. Like our hotel were these little bungalows, like about an hour and a half from the venue. And we had For 1 night, no running water. For 2 nights, no power. No places to buy bottled water. Absolutely, like, nobody working there. Our coach's doorknob fell off.
That's the place you want a doorknob to fall off.
Right.
Cuba.
Yeah. We opened up, John and I walk in and we opened up the closet and bugs just came flying out. We shut it.
Nice.
This
is on a junior's trip, right?
Junior's trip. This was a junior. Yeah, Junior Norseca.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, Junior Norseca in Cuba, Havana. And it was just crazy.
Yeah.
First international trip, and it was just wild. There's no way to describe it but wild and crazy, because that's what it was. Just everything that like could have gone wrong went wrong, and everything we expected wasn't there.
Yeah.
And I
feel like everyone has one of those trips where things just go wrong.
Yeah.
Everything that could go wrong is happening.
Yeah. There was a tropical storm the first day. There's absolutely no Wi-Fi there.
Yeah.
You have to buy it through the government, and it's super slow. So there's basically no contact with the rest of the world while you're there. The food was terrible, to say the least. Just bugs everywhere. Yeah. Sitting out all day.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
It definitely taught me how to travel in a different way.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. I mean, you learn something from everywhere you go.
Absolutely.
Like, whether it's the worst of the worst, or whether it's like a trip like this, where this is basically like, I mean, this is like a life trip for most people in the world that we got to go here because we're playing volleyball. Yeah. You know?
And I'm like trashing Cuba, but like one of the most fun trips in my life.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, when things go wrong and you get back from it, it's like, that was actually really fun.
Yeah. There's something about adversity that like bonds you also to the people around you. Oh, for sure. And traveling, like, you can be totally different and you travel together and you're best friends.
Yeah. And that's like exactly what the story that I just wrote on this trip, and I was telling Delaney about it, and I don't know if like you overheard, but I was saying that like when you go on these international trips, that like because your groups become so small and like the similarities are so few, that like you just ignore whatever small differences you had. So like people that I would like try, like if you travel with like a group and like, you know, one person's Democrat, one person's Republican, one's atheist, one's Christian, you know, one's like, you know, a country fan, one's a rap music fan. Like, you go to China together, none of that matters.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You're best friends.
Yeah, for sure. Traveling is just, there's something about it that nothing else really matters except, can you like talk to each other? Can you have fun? Yeah. And can you get through these crazy experiences together? Yeah. And then, like, even at the end of the day, like, can you talk to each other? No, but, like, like me and the guy from Thailand were, like, stuck in this Chinese airport together, and we, like, didn't know if we were in the right line. We were both going to Thailand because I had a layover in Bangkok. We, like, didn't speak each other's language, but we were just kind of laughing because, like, we showed each other, like, our boarding passes, and we're like, all right, we're going to the same place. That's awesome. So if we're getting lost together. That's so cool. So, like, language wasn't the same. We played the same sport. Automatic friends. Yeah. It just takes one similarity. Yeah. And it's the little things like that that make traveling internationally to play volleyball so cool. Yeah. There's nothing like traveling and playing. Just the friends you make, what you get to see, doing what you love while you're there. It's amazing. And you've mentioned a few times that international is a priority for you. Yeah. Where I think a lot of Americans go the reverse direction, where they start AVP is priority. Let me prove myself on the AVP, then I'll start stepping out into the international waters. Why is international kind of up there for you? I think because I started so young with it, and I got so many opportunities. I got lucky. Being born in 2000 gave me 3 amazing opportunities last year that only happened because I was in 2000. Really? Yeah. Because the Youth Olympics is every 4 years. Okay. And so you have to be born between 2000 and, I think it was 2004. Okay. So I was the oldest you could be, which is essentially where you want to be when you're going. It's an advantage. Yeah. And so that gave us the opportunity to go to the qualifier for the Youth Olympics in Cuba, go to Under-19 World Championships, and then go to the Youth Olympics. And just so awesome that I just couldn't keep myself from doing it again. And I'm fortunate enough to be able to travel and like have these opportunities, because I know a lot of people would love to and they don't get to. And I'm fortunate and I'm super thankful that I've gotten to do all of this. But yeah, I just think there's nothing quite like it.
Yeah.
Seeing the world is something I've always loved. Like, I've always loved traveling, and getting to do volleyball with it is just the coolest thing to me. It's hard to put into words.
Yeah.
Because volleyball is just like what I do and what I love, and getting to do it around the world, making friends, seeing super cool places, and I just love all things international. Like, I've been an Olympics fan since I can remember. Yeah. I love World Cup, like anything international, even if I don't watch the sport, like I'm into it.
Oh yeah, World Cup, I'm suddenly like, I know everything about soccer.
Exactly, right? And that's like, traveling internationally is like a stepping stone towards opportunities like that. And so that's kind of how I view it. And another thing is getting points early. Yeah. Because you get points for going to the youth stuff. And if you start when you're older, essentially the only path to getting points is NORCECA. And once you have points, you can keep getting into more events and more events. And so while I had points from the youth tournaments, I thought I should take advantage of it. Yeah, take advantage of it so I can build up and keep getting more opportunities. Yeah.
So you've now played in, so Tel Aviv was your fifth FIVB or fourth?
Fifth 1-star.
Okay. Yeah. Fifth 1-star, and the DR was your second adult NORCECA. Second adult NORCECA. Okay. So you got 5 international adult events under your belt. Yeah. That's a lot.
Yeah. A lot. I guess 7 combined, right? Yeah. Yeah. And I guess that is a lot. I haven't really thought about it. And they were all this season, which is really cool.
That is a lot of traveling.
A lot of traveling.
Yeah, because you did a 3-week stretch with Mike Bogue, who I played with in China. Yeah. You did Slovenia, Italy, and Liechtenstein. Yes. And those were your first 3 FIVBs, or did you do one?
I had done one in Sweden with
Adam Wienkowski.
Yeah. Okay. With my U21 partner this year, as kind of a warm up for U21s. Okay. And that was in Gothenburg, Sweden. Okay. So I guess 4 of them have been in Europe. I guess this is technically a 5th in Europe, if you count Israel as part of Europe. Yeah. But, awesome. Really cool.
How was, the 3-week stretch, like, that's a long time.
It was.
To be gone.
I don't think I'd ever been away from home that long before.
Yeah, I barely have. Yeah. I moved to Florida and stuff, but, like, I didn't when I was still living at home. Yeah. I was not gone for more than 3 weeks. Yeah, yeah. It's a long time, man.
It was a long time, and traveling for 3 weeks is hard because you have to do things on the road that you have to do at home, which is weird, like washing clothes. Right. It's something you can't bring a tank of a suitcase that's going to last you 3 weeks, because that's just ridiculous. Yep. And then lugging that across buses and trains, because once you're in Europe, you're not really flying anywhere. Right. You're taking buses, trains, cars. So I had to learn to pack light, which is not a strength of mine. I'm a big packer, as you've seen. I love my rollers. I love my food. I'm picky, so I bring a lot of snacks. Yeah. So I just had to learn how to do all that. Yeah. Mike and I think at one point filled up the bathtub, and we're just wringing out clothes, laying them on the porch of our hotel.
What I did in Italy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of funny. It's almost like college on the road. Yeah. Yeah.
It kind of is. Yeah. Except you're traveling just with a really small team. Yeah. Yeah. Sure. I'm sure I'm washing my clothes right now, if our listeners can't hear that in the background. In our Airbnb kitchen.
And probably the worst washing machine. Man.
But it gets the job done.
It does.
It helped since the security guys just threw all my dirty clothes into my clean clothes. And so we had for the listeners who have not traveled to Israel, could not recommend it more. But be prepared that when you're in the airport, you're going to get at least a 30-minute security interview and get your bag flipped upside down and turned over this way and that. And anything that you had in order is now firmly out of order.
By far the hardest place I've traveled to.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought I was good. Our flight was delayed like 45 minutes because they were doing security interviews with like every passenger.
I've never seen anything like it. Yeah. I went to check in and I got there early because I had an 8-hour layover. And they wouldn't let me go through until like 3 hours before. Yeah. And I decided to go at the 3 hours, and the line was already out the door. 3 hours before the flight because they were interviewing everybody for like 30. I was there for by far the longest. Like people were coming and passing. I think probably because they hadn't seen that before, because most people that come are saying, oh, I'm just going with this tourist group to see, and we have this set itinerary. And I was like, I'm going for volleyball and we'll see where I end up.
Right. Which they don't like that.
No, they don't. And so they decided that I had to check my carry-on. And then they decided that my backpack was suspicious. And so as I'm boarding the plane, they pulled me into a side room and they tore it up. And then they told me I had too much stuff in there, so they couldn't repack it for me. So I had to repack it. And just 3 hours of intensity getting on a plane.
And like, to you too, like about the least suspicious person on the planet.
I was just like going through and like, really? Like, gotta go through this again. Yeah. It just was one thing after the other. And I mean, I guess they have a lot to be worried about, the area of the world we are in.
For sure.
Yeah.
Now that I'm here, I kind of get it.
Yeah, I get it. And it makes you feel safer, to say the least.
Yeah.
I'd rather them do that than not do that if it's really a problem. But
it's like one of those things where I forget what study I was reading. Maybe it was in college, but they did a study where if you are going into a building with metal detectors, do you feel safer or more like at risk? And it's like 90% at risk. Because like the fact that they need those security measures, people are like, why do you need that security measure? And so like I felt safer because I was like, this is pretty dang thorough. Yeah. But at the same time, like, how crazy is this place that we're about to go to?
I know.
Like pretty gnarly. Like now that like we were talking about it when we were in Jerusalem, and we were at the Western Wall, and then right behind it was a mosque. We're like, okay, like I get why there's some tension here.
Yeah, for sure. The city's essentially like 3 religions all going to bat over what they claim is theirs, really. Yeah. Which is just crazy to think about. And that's essentially like what the whole region is like. Yeah. Israel's not surrounded by safe countries whatsoever. Syria is on the border. Jordan's on the border.
Yeah, we heard Egypt. We heard gunshots in Jordan tonight. A couple rounds of them.
Yeah, it's just this area of the world is kind of crazy. Just dangerous, but also so cool and so beautiful.
Yeah, Tel Aviv, I think, is... So I always rule out, like, U.S. places, because I think that Hawaii and Hermosa Beach, like, are still unbeaten in my book. Sure. But Tel Aviv is internationally the most beautiful place I've ever seen. Not only just looks, but, like, the food, the people, like, just the atmosphere. Like, Tel Aviv is, like, absolutely. I could not recommend it any more than like...
It's an amazing city.
Yeah.
It's super safe, which is funny, being where we are. I don't have a problem like walking down the street or anything. Yeah. The food is by far the best food I've had internationally.
Yes.
I've had some bad food, and so this was a nice change.
I came from China.
Yeah.
So I came from...
you can't get worse than China.
From rice and meat markets to stay away from. Yeah. To here. And I was like, oh my gosh. Pita bread all day long.
Hummus, kebabs, just like the best Mediterranean food.
Yeah, amazing. And the sand is deep.
The sand is really
like
deep.
Hermosa Beach deep, but like slippery.
And heavy.
And it was hard
dense.
to move.
Yeah. And
you were coming from the DR, which is like a trampoline.
Yeah, they were measuring the sand in the DR, and it didn't even hit the halfway mark of like the required depth. Like, it was
jungle ball.
So shallow. I was hitting angles I never hit before, kind of stupid angles. And coming to this, at practice the first day, I thought, oh, I'm just tired. And then the next day I woke up and maybe I was tired again. And then we played our first match, and I'm like, I shouldn't be tired at this point, but I can't jump. Yeah. It took me like until the end of the second match to get a hang of it. And then after that I was fine. Yeah. But it's not easy to jump here or move.
No, not at all. I was surprised by that because every time that Tri talks about the world tour, he talks about everything super shallow. Yeah. And China was like moderately deep, and then this was like as deep as anywhere I've played in the world.
Yeah. This is by far the deepest international sand I've played in. Yeah. Slovenia was close. And Cuba was sort of deep, sort of not. But besides that, everything's been pretty shallow.
Yeah. Pretty much most Norsecas you play, you're gonna
absolutely.
Be flying.
It's dirt.
Yeah. For the most part.
Yeah.
Now that, go ahead.
No.
I was going to say, well, the 2019, this is technically the 2020 season, but don't know why the FIVB calls this the 2020 season. Your 2019 year is finally at a close.
It is.
Did you like set goals coming in of what you wanted to achieve, and then like what's your goal setting process look like for next year? Like, are you gonna like take a minute, reflect, look at what you've done, look at what you want to do next year?
For sure. I did set a bunch of goals coming into 2019, and obviously as the season goes, goals kind of change,
right?
Because things happen that are out of your control.
Yeah.
With partners, with injuries, with what opportunities get thrown at you last minute, things change. And so I kind of coming into this year, I wanted to focus on the international. I wanted to play a few adult tournaments, and it turned into a lot more than I expected.
7.
Yeah, which was awesome, but definitely not what I thought coming into this year. I thought, I'll play U21 Worlds, hopefully, as long as I qualify, which thankfully I did. I'll try and go to a couple 1-stars, get my foot in it, and then play a bunch of AVPs. And it turned out that just opportunity after opportunity presented itself, and I have a hard time saying no to international opportunities. So I took them and played a lot less AVP than I thought I would. Can't say that's a bad thing or a good thing, just kind of how it happened. And thankful I got to compete against different people, because even on the AVP, you're still competing against people you see all the time. Yeah. Whether it's in CBVAs or in practice. And so when you travel, you get to see people that you see once a year.
And a different style.
Very different style.
Vastly different style of play.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. They're much more physical. Yeah. And they're smooth.
Super smooth. That's I think really the thing smooth. That I was most surprised by is that on the world tour, like, no one shoots unless like an emergency or like I'm throwing you a change up once, and they take the sets far off the net.
Yeah, and high.
Yeah.
Or they'll shoot it really fast, but it's high or fast.
Right. So the only time that it's like going to be tight to the net is when they're running a play, and being tight to the net is kind of useful because they can just like swipe it off of you or reset to run another fast play. Yeah. But when we played Russia in China, like they were taking their sets 6 feet off the net and just yahtseeing like deep seam. Like you see an American take a set 6 feet off the net, like you're peeling off, and it's like it's a free ball back to you, and this is like totally different.
It's hard to play against.
It is.
The blockers have to make different moves than you're used to seeing. So as a defender, you don't really know what to do. Half the time, the blocker doesn't even know what to do when the set's that far off.
I have no clue what to do.
If you pull, you're
gonna get hit in the face like Jacob Windisch did to me.
Yeah, it's hard because they hit the ball a lot harder too.
Yeah, they do. Feel like, and maybe it's the Mikasa. I don't know.
I think it's got to do with that because the AVP ball doesn't go that fast. Yeah. Mikasa's a little springier off of a hit. I feel like.
A little flatter maybe.
Yeah, and so it comes at you a little faster. And it's harder to control on a dig. You can absorb the Wilson a lot better than you can the Mikasa.
Yeah. Yeah, the style of play is like crazy different. Like, have you noticed your game change since you play almost more international ball than you do US?
Yeah, for sure. I feel like I hit a lot more balls than I used to. Yeah. I was super, super shooty. And even being like an undersized player, I guess at 6'1", wherever I'm at, I feel like I'm hitting a lot more balls than I ever used to, especially when I came back from Europe. Those 3 weeks where I was playing 3 straight weeks of international, and I came back for the Manhattan Beach Open, and I think I hit almost every ball. Yeah. I don't think I really shot. And it's super cool to see it translate. Yeah. Even though I don't necessarily know if that works on the AVP.
See, but I don't know why it wouldn't, other than the ball is a little bit different, and maybe digging a hard driven is easier. Yeah. Because I think it is easier to read like the spin of a Wilson. So a Wilson behaves more like you would expect it to than a Mikasa, because Mikasa doesn't like get that true top spin, so it doesn't come down exactly where you think it's going to come down. Like, you like get caught kind of high. You get caught, yeah. So maybe that's it, but
I don't know,
because I was talking to Jordan Chang, who's coaching Kelly Plays in Sarah Sponsel, and he watched me just get roofed over and over and over again by Adrian Heydrich, who ended up winning in Kinzhou. And he was like, you're swinging like, you're trying to hit like American angles, basically. He's like, you're trying to swing down and sharp. He's like, just swing high and deep. And he goes, if you hit 3 balls out in a row, like, I'll applaud you for that. Because like, those are the swings that work. And so, like, against Russia, all I did was swing high and deep. And, like, here, I don't think I maybe shot, like, one ball. Everything else was just, like,
you swung
high deep to
everything.
the seam.
Even on 2, you swung it absolutely everything. Yeah.
And I told Jordan that, and he's like, it worked, didn't it? I was like, yeah, pretty much every time.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, but it just does.
It's just different.
Yeah.
I haven't figured out why it's so different.
Yeah.
There's got to be something, but
yeah.
It's really cool, and it's really fun to play.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a little bit more fun. Because when these guys are just teeing off, it gives you the opportunity to like either house them up there or just make a sick.
You make some awesome plays. You had Israel, the second, we played like 100 Israeli teams.
Yeah.
The second Israeli team we played, like that blocker was hitting like hard balls. And you were just making these crazy digs. And like the Israeli fans were like rooting for you by the end of it.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, there's something about it that's just so much fun.
Yeah.
Like, as a defender, I feel like digging a super hard, especially a sharp swing.
Yeah.
There's nothing better.
Yeah.
And so international play, I think, gives you more opportunities to do that.
Yeah.
Because people just take rips. Like that blocker from Israel, he's not an amazing player, but he's super solid and he can hit the crap out of the ball.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what you need. The shots come eventually, but as long as you have that swing established, your shots don't need to be perfect to get down.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And with you getting out on the world tour, and John Schwengel qualified for his first AVP.
Yeah.
Miles Partain just won AVP Rookie of the Year. Yeah. And Marcus Partain has qualified for a couple AVPs now. Yeah. Do you guys like? I feel like you guys are like the four. Like kind of young kids up and coming, and then there's others like I think Casey Losick belongs in that group too. Yeah, I know he like hasn't really been.
Casey's kind of been
with
a little.
You guys.
Yeah, Casey played. I was partners with Casey 1 year in USA.
Okay.
But that was because somebody got hurt and he just filled in. He never really played in any of that.
Right.
He was from Santa Cruz, and so he played with all the adults.
Yeah.
And I remember the first time anybody saw him and the kids, like when he came and played with me in that USA thing, everyone's like, who's this man? Like, he played like a dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you guys like root for each other?
Yeah.
I mean, Miles texted us and was like, hey, great finish. Like, fifth is awesome. Which is like a super cool thing.
With Miles and Marcus, we have been playing together since we were super young. I mean, I don't know if I showed you the video, but I have a video of Marcus and I playing in 14s together on a woman's net. I think the rally ends with Marcus roll shotting the ball under the net. Like, it is super fun that we've kind of grown up together. I played them with another kid my age at a tournament when we were 14, and we became friends at that tournament, and then played each other at like every other youth tournament. And then Marcus was always like a year and a half older than Miles with the A-Troop stuff. So Marcus and I played together for a really long time. He and I played the USA stuff together for a couple years. And then after that, John showed up kind of a year, I'd say, into when Miles, Marcus, and I all started like playing together.
Okay. And
then he jumped into the USA stuff. So Marcus, John, and I made the U17 USA team together for the first time. The three of us were on it and have basically been on it every year together. And Miles has always been a year younger than us in the program. Okay. So he made that first year, he was in U15. Okay. And then we were all in U17 together the next year.
Got it.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
It's really cool. I mean, there's some of my closest friends for sure. Yeah. Marcus is at UCLA with me now. Yeah. Which is awesome. I've seen him a couple of times up there. Yeah. Haven't really been at school much.
We're done now, so it's time to get back to school.
Yeah. Coming back, have a midterm in 2 days.
And paper due.
Excited. Yeah. Yeah, it's really cool. We've all become good friends and definitely root for each other. Yeah. For sure. Like, Partains have done awesome on the AVP this year, and Miles killed it in Chicago. Yeah. The nicest kid
Took
in
me
the
out
world.
in the process.
Yeah. Yeah. Can't find nicer kids.
No, like, it's impossible to dislike them.
Yeah.
Like, sure. Any of you guys. And it's fun. It's fun to see because, like, I remember the first time I played or saw you and John play. It might have been in like the CBVA that we were talking about earlier, the Cal Cup. Yeah, that you guys were in the semifinals, and because John like invited me over his house, like or a house on the Strand. I don't know if it's his house on the Strand, but we just like had a barbecue there, and I was like, dude, you guys are gonna be so good. And like a year later, I was like, holy cow, like they're all in main draws. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah.
And so have you looked at the next season yet? Like, have you started feeling it out? Okay.
I definitely want to play a lot of international ones again. Now that I have a lot more points, I have opportunities to do like some higher level tournaments, which is really cool. It's been a long season, and for the first time ever, I actually feel like I need a break. Normally, I'm just go. Like, I've never really taken more than like 5 days off of volleyball. I think I got my wisdom teeth taken out, and I took a week and a half off after that. But that's about it. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to a little bit more time off.
Yeah.
Letting some of the little nagging injuries heal, getting in the weight room, getting stronger, and then working on everything that I need to work on that I learned that I got to get better at this season. Because there's a lot of it.
Yep.
There's always a lot of it. But
always.
I feel like there's definitely a lot that I've learned this year, especially with all the international tournaments.
Yeah. What have been some of the bigger ones?
Being more physical. Serving is huge.
Yeah.
Serving, that guy we played, Samuel Codafava from Italy, his float serve was disgusting.
Gnarly.
It dropped or rose on me every time, and I couldn't figure it out.
Yeah, I don't even think if he knew. Like, because when I hit a really nasty float with the Mikasa, I'm like, I wish I knew what I did to make it do that.
Yeah, and if you can get these guys out of system, there's a much better chance you're gonna not have them swinging super hard.
Yeah,
and that's a huge thing. I think my biggest focus this offseason is going to be on serving, whether it's float serving, jump serving. I don't really know.
Right.
I got to work on it all.
Yeah.
But that would be my biggest takeaway. You know, always passing. I think passing is the most important part of volleyball.
Yeah.
So always going to keep working on that.
Serve and pass.
Serve and pass. If you win the serve and pass battle, you tend to win the game.
I have noticed that is a pattern.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I do have a flight to catch early in the morning. Got to wake up at 4. So I do want to ask the last question that we ask all of our guests on the podcast.
Oh, boy.
If you had to give one piece of advice to an up-and-coming beach volleyball player, what would that piece of advice be?
That's hard because I feel like I'm an up-and-coming.
Right, you could. So, like, if you could give yourself advice, like, when you were, like, 14-year-old Tim Brewster, what would you tell yourself?
I feel like there's two things really. I think the first is as much as you love volleyball and as much as you really want to keep going, make sure to do some other stuff too.
Yeah.
Because it's easy just to get focused on volleyball and then all the fun gets taken from it. So make sure no matter what you're having fun with volleyball. I think that's the biggest thing. As long as you're enjoying it, you're going to get better. And then I'd say the other thing is don't forget about the basics. Always go back to them because that's what's going to help get you better.
Yeah.
If you can do the little things right, then everything else becomes so much easier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Tim Brewster. Fun trip, brother. Woo. We'll have to get out now that we both have a fair amount of points.
Yeah.
Sneak into automatic main draws some more.
That would be nice.
Yeah. So 2020, I'm down.
It's exciting. Yeah.
It is. All right. Well, this has been Sandcast. I hope you enjoyed our little mini phone mic. Sorry for the dishwasher or the laundry in the background.